Hi, this is a first in a series of videos looking at RHCE objectives. In this particular one, we will look at HTTP and HTTPS. Let's look at the objectives on the Red Hat website. Under HTTP/HTTPS, configure a virtual host, configure private directories, deploy a basic CGI application, configure group managed content, and configure TLS security. For any network service, additionally, we need to be able to do these, install the packages needed to provide the service, configure SELinux to support the service, configure the service to start when the system is booted, configure the service for basic operation, that's a given, and configure host-based and user-based security for the service. We will do all our configuration on server1.example.com. We will configure some virtual hosts, a private directory that can be only accessed from the local host, a basic CGI application, TLS security, and a password protected directory. Let's get started. First thing we need to do is install the packages. The best way to do this is group install the group web server. So that's yum group install web server. That installs all the packages that you need. Most of the packages, I think. There might be one or two that you need to add for CGI applications. We'll look at that later on in the video. Okay, that's done. Let's configure the service to start at boot. So systemctl enable the service is HTTPD. We might as well start it. Systemctl start HTTPD. We do need to configure the firewall to allow access to the web server. So firewall-cmd, use the permanent for persistence, and add service HTTP. We also need to do HTTPS. You do need to reload the configuration. So firewall-cmd hyphen reload. Okay, there is a text-based web browser that you can use for testing. It's called eLinux. So let's install that first. Yum install -y eLinux. Okay, let's test our web servers working. So eLinux HTTP localhost. This is the default page that you get if you haven't done any custom configuration. Let's have a look at the main config file. That's in etc httpd conf httpd.conf. The first thing I want to look at is the listen directive. This tells the web server which port to listen on. By default is port 80. The next thing we want to see is document root. This is where the files for the web server is. Document root. Here we go. So document root is var www html. This block is also very important. This just allows access from anywhere, so require or granted. So if you use a different directory, you need to add that block in for that particular directory, and also the conf.d anything.conf is read as well as part of the configuration. If we look at the document root directory, you'll notice there's nothing there. So let's create something. Welcome to server1 .example.com. We will create a custom virtual host config file in our conf.d directory where we'll put all our configuration. This is read alphabetically, so I always put a underscore to make sure it's read before any other file. So we'll call as vhost.conf. First thing we want to do is set up the virtual host for the default site. So virtual host star 80. Document root will be var www html, and we'll give the server name as server1.example.com. It's a good idea to put each virtual host a log file as a separate file. It's easier for debugging, so we'll call this one server1 error log, and it's for the access log as well, so that's custom log server1 hyphen access dot log. You do need to add one other argument, which is combined, and that's our definition of a virtual host, the default one. Let's save this. elinux server1.example.com. Okay, there you go, that's working. Let's test this from server 2 as well. Make sure our firewall config worked. So elinux server1.example.com. Oh, that's right, we haven't installed elinux yet, so let's do that first. Yum install elinux. Okay, let's try that again. Great. Okay, let's create another virtual host, and we will call this one vhost1.example.com. Now this is not in DNS, so I'm going to add it in the hosts file. So point to the IP address of this server, and it's vhost1.example.com. In the exam, all the DNS should be given for you, but if you do need to add anything in, then yeah, just do it to the host file. Let's create a custom directory as well, just so that I can show you the SELinux settings that need to be done. So if we look at the SELinux label for the www directory, you'll notice is HTTPD syscontent T. So that tells SELinux that directory contains HTTPD content. For our directory we created vhost1, this var_t, so that's completely the wrong label. So let's change that. So se manager fcontext a for add, type is httpd underscore sys underscore content underscore t, and our directory is var vhost1, and then this just tells it any files or directory underneath that as well. Okay, we do need to run restore con to apply the label. So that's restore con R4 recursive, V for verbose, and then the directory. There you go. If we do a ls again, you will notice that the label is now correct. Now let's create a index file. Welcome to vhost1.example.com. Let's save this. Okay, that file also has the correct SELinux label. Now let's add our definition into our config file. So yeah, v_vhost.conf, another virtual host definition. Again, virtual host *:80. The document root is different. It's var vhost1, not www, vhost1. And the name for this will be vhost1.example.com. We'll again point it to a different log file. So we call this one vhost1 error.log, and similarly for the custom log, vhost1-access.log combined. Right, because this directory is not under var www, we need to add those. We need to add the permission for it to be browsable. The ones I showed you in httpd.conf for var www, we need to do the same for var vhost1. So let's allow override and none. Override none. What was it? Yes, require all granted. And that just allows access. Okay, that's all we need to do. Let's save this. We do need to reload the config, so systemctl reload httpd, and then let's give it a quick test. vhost1.example.com, add the http at the front. Okay, great, that's working. Tester from server 2, where we do need to add the DNS entry or the host entry, so we'll do that in hosts. Just because it's not, it doesn't resolve. Server 1 to example.com and server 2 example.com resolves because it's in our IPA server, but vhost1 to example.com is not. So we add that in just to the host file so it knows where to go. So save that quickly. Let's give it a try. So elinks http vhost1.example.com. Okay, great. Let's create a directory that will only be accessible from the local host, so private, and then we'll add an index file in here. Welcome to private directory. Okay, let's add this directory into our configuration file. So etc httpd conf.d underscore v host.conf. Okay, so directory, which is var www html private. Order is we'll do deny and then allow. So we deny from everywhere apart from localhost. So allow from 127.0.0.1, which is IPv4 slash colon 1, which is IPv6, and we'll also put our IP address in, which is 10.10.10.147, and then close the directory. Save that. Let's reload the configuration. So systemctl reload httpd. Let's test it. elinux http server1.example.com/private. Okay, so that's great. It's accessible from localhost like we want. Now, moment of truth, is it accessible from server 2? It shouldn't be. So elinux http server1.example.com/private. And here we go, forbidden. So that's working as expected. Let's deploy a CGI application. So if we go to the directory CGI bin under www, there's nothing there at the moment. I downloaded a simple application from the web earlier on our IPA server. Let's copy it here using SCP. It's a very simple program. I'll show you the contents of it. All it does is prints hello world on the screen when it's run. It's a Python application, WSGI. If I show you the SELinux label, that's in fact already correct because we downloaded it into the default CGI bin directory. If you are asked to use a different directory, make sure that the SELinux label is correct. We'll also run this application on a completely different port. So let's run this on port 9998. So yeah, listen. 9998, and this is in the main httpd.conf file. Okay, let's save this. So as I was saying earlier on, this mod WSGI is not installed as part of web servers group. So we need to install this, otherwise it won't recognize the WSGI application. Okay. Let's add the config into our vhost.conf file. vhost_vhost.conf. Okay, so we'll create a new virtual host. So virtual host star colon 9998. The document root is RCGI bin directory. In fact, you could even leave this out and it should still work. Well, let's add it in. www.cgi-bin. Server name's still the same, so server1.example.com. server1.example.com. Let's add a different log file. Logs web app error.log, and we'll do the same for access as well. Combined. This is the important line, so WSGI script alias, and we'll just use link it to the root and the actual application, which is www.cgi bin webapp.wsgi. So whenever you browse the web server on that port, it will run that app. Let's close this and save the file. Right, because we used a custom port, let me show you a list of ports, and we will filter it by HTTP D. So grep HTTP D -L just shows you the list. So if you look here, HTTP port T, these are the ports that are registered for that label. So we need to add our own one. Now SE manage ports is the man page, and towards the end there is a nice examples. So we want something similar to this. This is allowing Apache to listen on port 81. We just need to configure it for our port, which is 9998. So let's do this quickly. SE manage port A for add. What do we need here? Type. So HTTP underscore port underscore T. Then we need the protocol, which is P, which is TCP, and our port is 9998. This is all you need to do. There's nothing else to do. Unlike the file context where you have to run restore con, this will make sure that it's registered. We also need to open up the port on our firewall. So firewall-cmd permanent add port, which is 9998, and then /TCP because that's the protocol. We do need to reload firewall cmd -- reload. Let's restart the Apache. So systemctl restart HTTPD. So there's no errors, that's good. Another useful command you can run is netstat, and if you run it with -tulpen, it will show you all the ports that are listening and the application. What happened here? Oh, we need to do a -tulpen. If we grep on 9998, there you go, HTTPD. Actually, a better thing would be if we do netstat to open and grep it on HTTPD, then we can see all the ports. There we go. So 998, port 80, and 443. So that all looks good. Let's test it. elinux HTTP server1.example.com :9998. All right, hello world. Let's test it from server 2 as well. elinux HTTP server1.example.com :9998. That's also working. Let's have a look at TLS security. So if we look at the default SSL.com file, there's important things here is the listen 443. That's the port it listens on. The other important bits are so there is the default virtual host. So on 443, SSL engine on, and then the certificate files. So SSL certificate file there and SSL certificate key file. Those are the important directives for HTTPS. I don't think there's anything else to look at here, to be honest. So let's quit. Right, you can use GenKey to generate SSL certificates and key file. I'm not going to run it now because it takes ages to generate it. Let's show you the different options that are available. So you can create requests, renew certs. I've already used GenKey and created 2 certificates which I've stored on our IPA server. But if you wanted to generate them yourself, you would do the GenKey and then the name of the server, and it stores the certificate in those directories. We won't do that because I've already generated certificates. So let's copy them down. So if we go to the right directory, etcpki tls private, that's where the key file is. So let's download our key file. So scp root colon root at IPA colon / root, and it's server1.example.com.key. Copy it to the current directory. The cert file is stored in certs at the same level. So let's go to that directory and copy the cert file. So scp root at IPA colon root / server1.example.crt to the current, oh, I forgot, too fast, current directory. Okay, so both our certificate and key file is there. Let's add the config into our configurations file. Underscore vhost.conf. Okay, so new virtual directory. New virtual host, in fact. So virtual host star colon 443 because it's HTTPS. Document root is the same, www.html. Server name is also the same, server1.example.com. Different log file. So let's call this one server1, secure server1 -error.log, and we'll do the same for the custom log. So logs secure server1 access.log combined. Now the SSL directives, so SSL engine on, SSL certificate file, and SSL certificate key file. Okay, that's all we need to do. Let's restart the web server. Now, ELinux is not good at testing HTTPS servers, especially for self-generated certificates, because it can't handle the errors. So let's use Safari for that. So here we go. That's our certificate. Great. We do need to accept the error because it is self-signed, and there you go. H is working on HTTPS. Last thing left to do is a password protected directory. So let's create a directory here called passworded. We'll add a index.html file. Passworded directory. The program we use to create the password file is HTTPSwd. If you look at the hop, you'll see the C option is to create a new file. So C, location of the password, location and path of the password file. We store it in etc httpd, and the file can be a hidden one. So let's put a dot, actually, dot passwords. Let's add Akbar as a user. I'll prompt you for a password. I'll use a simple password. Oops. Let's try that again. Okay, so user Akbar has been added. Let's modify our config file. So underscore vhost.conf. A new directory directive. So directory is var www html passworded. Right, the auth type is basic because we're just using a file. Auth name, let's call it password protected directory. Auth user file, so point to our password file, which is etc httpd and dot password. And require a valid user, so that user has to be present in that password file, and that's all we need to do here. Save the changes. Let's restart HTTPD. There's an error, so let's see what's going on. So if we look at status, systemctl status HTTPD, what's it saying? It says auth name takes one argument, and I put 3, so let's quickly correct that. So if we look at our config file, we'll just put the password protected directory in quotes. Okay, let's try again. Okay, no errors this time. Let's test it. server1.example.com passworded. Okay, good. It's asking for a username and password. Let's try a username and password. Okay, so that's saying a server error. Let's see what's going on. Let's have a look at our password file. So that was in cd http cd etc httpd. If we do a listing here, we need to do a hidden listing. Looks like it. The SELinux is right. The file is called .passwords. Let's correct the config very quickly. vhost.conf, and let's change a file name to the correct one, which is passwords. Let's save this. Okay, let's try again. Looks like it worked. There you go. This will be better if we test it from within Safari. So let's fire up Safari and go to passworded. Asking for the username and password. Okay, Great, that's working nicely. That's all the objectives. Thanks for watching. I hope you found it useful. Some contact details below. Drop me a line if you have any questions or suggestions.